welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are going to demystify a truly magical culinary process. We're taking the humble, everyday bottle gourd, you probably know it as Lauki, and we're transforming it into totally restaurant-style Lauki Kofte, right in your very own kitchen. Seriously, if you've ever thought of bottle gourd as kind of plain, or maybe you're the type to run for the hills when you hear it's for dinner, well, get ready. This is going to completely change your perspective. Just listen to this perfect description from our source text. We're aiming for tender, spiced vegetable dumplings fried to perfection and simmered in a rich, flavorful tomato onion gravy. You see how that captures the whole vibe of this absolute classic North Indian dish? It's literally a game of contrasts. You've got the crispy, spiced exterior of the dumpling that just sort of melts into a soft center, and it's all wrapped up in this luxurious, complex sauce. And that is exactly what we're building today.
To make absolutely sure this recipe is foolproof for you, we're going to break this explainer down into 4 highly structured phases. First, the North Indian classic. Second, preparing the perfect koftas. Third, crafting the rich gravy. And fourth, combining and serving.
So let's jump right into part 1, the North Indian classic.
I know, staring at a giant list of spices can feel kind of overwhelming at first. But organizing the ingredients into koftas on one side and gravies on the other reveals a really clear logic. For the koftas, we're relying on fresh grated lauki and binding agents, like Besan, just to hold our dumplings together. Then, on the gravy side, we're building this robust flavor base rooted in aromatics. We're talking ginger garlic, onions, tomatoes, and a complex blend of those classic warm Indian spices. Breaking your workstation down into these 2 distinct camps makes the whole process so much more approachable.
Moving right along to section 2, preparing the perfect koftas.
Okay, if you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this. Squeeze the water. This is absolutely crucial. The single most critical rule for getting that perfect dumpling texture is to use your hands, or a cheesecloth, to squeeze out as much excess water as humanly possible from the grated lauki. If you skip this, and trust me, people do, your batter will be a soggy mess. You'll end up overcompensating with too much flour, and your dumplings will turn out hard and dense instead of soft and tender.
Traditional cooking techniques are incredibly clever when it comes to managing moisture. First off, whatever you do, do not throw that squeezed Lauki juice away. Actually, scratch that. It's not just water, it's a nutrient-rich juice, and we are going to brilliantly repurpose it. We're going to save it and add it directly to our gravy later to really amp up the flavor. Second, and this is a major secret to success, you must add the salt at the very last second before mixing. Why? Well, salt naturally draws out liquid, so if you add it too early, the Lauki will just keep sweating out more water, and that totally ruins the consistency of your carefully balanced batter.
So, once your moisture is fully managed and your salt is added at the literal last second, you've got to act quickly. You'll gently combine that squeezed lauki, the Besan, green chilies, ginger, Ajwain, red chili powder, and Garam Masala into a nice thick batter. Then, just gently roll the mixture into small bite-sized balls. Meanwhile, you should already have your oil heating in a deep pan. Carefully drop the balls into the hot oil and fry them over medium heat. You're looking to cook them until they turn a beautiful, rich golden brown and get crispy on all sides. Once they hit that perfect color, pull them out, drain them on some paper towels, and set them aside.
All right, let's get into section 3, crafting the rich gravy.
Making a great Indian gravy is basically a masterclass in sequencing. It's all about layering those flavors perfectly. First, temper your aromatics, your cumin and bay leaf in hot oil or ghee, and let them crackle. Next, sauté the chopped onions on medium heat until they turn golden brown. Then, add a tablespoon of ginger garlic paste and cook it for about a minute until that raw smell is totally gone. Now, step 3 requires a quick shift. Drop your heat to low. Add the turmeric, coriander, and red chili powders. You only want to toast these for like 30 seconds so they release their natural oils without burning. Then comes the tomato puree and salt. Cook this on medium heat for about 5 to 7 minutes. You'll actually know it's ready when the oil starts to visibly separate from the masala. That visual cue right there, that's your green light for step 5, which is pouring in your water and, crucially, that reserved lauki juice we saved earlier.
So once you've added your liquids, which altogether should be about 1.5 to 2 cups, give it a really good stir. Bring the whole gravy up to a rolling boil. And the second it hits that bubbling peak, lower the heat and let it simmer gently for exactly 5 minutes. This 5-minute simmer is the magic window where all those individually layered spices and aromatics meld together into one cohesive, deeply rich sauce.
Finally, we are at part 4, combining and serving. But wait, before we introduce those crispy dumplings to the gravy, we have 3 really quick finishing touches. Go ahead and stir in 2 tablespoons of fresh cream or malai, half a teaspoon of garam masala, and 1 tablespoon of crushed kasuri methi. Believe me, these 3 ingredients are the ultimate secret to getting that high-end, restaurant-quality finish. They totally finalize the luxurious texture and aromatic taste of the gravy.
Now, before we actually assemble the dish, heed this massive red flag directly from our source text. Koftas act like sponges. Don't overcook them in the gravy or they might break apart. This is, without a doubt, the single most important thing to remember right now. Because your perfectly fried, moisture-managed dumplings absorb liquid incredibly fast, leaving them on the heat for too long is a complete recipe for disaster. They will literally dissolve into your beautiful gravy.
So, what's the magic number? 2 to 3 minutes. You gently drop the fried koftas into the simmering gravy, cover the pan with a lid, and cook on low heat for exactly 2 to 3 minutes, not a second longer. The moment that timer goes off, cut the flame completely and garnish the whole thing generously with fresh chopped coriander leaves.
And there you go, the whole shebang. You've learned the absolute necessity of squeezing out the water, the total brilliance of saving that juice for the gravy, the exact 5-step sequence for a rich masala, and the golden rule of the 2 to 3 minute final simmer. So, the only question left for you to answer in your own kitchen is this: roti, butter naan, or jeera rice? How will you serve your steaming hot, restaurant-style classic Lauki Kofte?